Hey there, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Owen Jennings, Senior Director of Consent and Preferences at OneTrust. Welcome to the Consent and Preferences Maturity Model. We're going to take you through a little bit of an introduction here, and share some of what we've learned. I do want to quickly plug, this time last year, OGIS Rega did a data privacy maturity model. I would highly encourage you to watch that as well and part of your learning. We'll be dropping in links throughout this chat, just the things I mentioned or things that are relevant for you to kind of pick up on. And then I would just ask that put any questions in there. I'll do my best to kind of get to them after the chat, or someone from the team may respond. And then while you're going through this, think about your company. Every company will fit into one of these 6 stages, but of course there's nuances. And I'm just hoping that you'll kind of gather some things. Early in my career, I was a loan officer, and real estate agents always were like, yeah, best time to buy a house, anyone will say, it was 5 years before that. Well, the best time is obviously right now. And I think it's very similar to this model that we're doing here, right? Like, you can look back and say, I wish I would have started this and collecting consent and proper data 5 years ago. But the best time is to enhance and build right now. So let's get started. So first, I just very quickly wanted to cover a couple of the terms that we're going to be saying here. So CMP, consent management platform, right? So this is anywhere that you're seeing kind of the cookie banners, consent for trackers, SDKs, digital advertising. This is the check the box compliance is sort of one way that people kind of look at it. As we move through the model, UCPM, or Universal Consent and Preference Management, is a way to really capture that marketing consent. This is for sales, support, R&D. This is your first party data, and really preferences on this. So what are the goals of the consent and preferences maturity model? Before we go to the 6 stages, I'm going to let you read what's up there right now. But at a high level, we want this framework to be easy to follow. We want to provide a path to create a privacy-centric consent program that takes advantage of the latest tools. And then really, most importantly, right, lets you create business value from properly consented data. So let's start with stage 1. All right, so willing, non-compliant, or risk accepting. So in this stage, really, it's a lot of small to medium businesses that have kind of adapted maybe a relaxed attitude towards privacy compliance. They're thinking more short term, right? That's expensive. I don't want to do it. I'm not really going to get in trouble. But those are really trading trust of your brand and not thinking long term. So this can lead to legal penalties, reputational damages, and just missed opportunities for personalized marketing, right? So 3 kind of takeaways on this one: ad hoc strategies, right? Informal methods of managing consent and preferences, kind of where you're at here. Risk acceptance. So again, you're prioritizing short-term gains over a longer term. And then there are consequences: legal penalties, reputational damages, and then missed opportunities. So as a business, as you sort of think about this approach and you want to take the initial step towards compliance, you move on to a single configuration. This is the basic consent banner, right? And so this is a single globally configured consent banner. This is a step towards compliant. It's minimal, but it is reactive that will create long-term vulnerabilities. This is what the checking of the box. We've got something out there. Everyone can see it. But the complexity of global privacy laws requires that it's really more than a one-size-fits-all solution. So really, to address it, you've got to start tailoring consent banners to regional regulations and really thinking through what that looks like to, avoid risk mitigation. So again, this stage, kind of 3 quick takeaways: it's minimal compliance. It's a single consent banner, likely only on web. It's going to provide long-term vulnerabilities, right? You're going to be reactive as regulations change. You're always going to be behind and trying to adapt. And it is just a one-size-fits-all solution as compared to a little bit more robust. So as we move on to stage 3, now you're realizing the limitations of a consent banner, right? And now this is what we would consider a major significant milestone in privacy maturity. This shift starts to demonstrate respect for users' privacy and helps build a personalized experience, right? So by acknowledging now that you've got nuances in the local laws and consumer preferences, you can start building that foundation of trust. This is where you're really making sure that customers are connecting with you and your brand, And this is becoming a proactive approach, right? Now you're thinking about the GDPR, you're thinking about CCPA, and you're really following that. This is the proactive approach to turning privacy from a liability compliance into an asset and really starting to get towards marketing. So again, 3 little notes to make here. This is a respect for privacy. The tailored consent banners are focused on regional laws, right? Personalized experiences. This is, again, a better customer connection. You're building that loyalty and planting the seeds. This is a proactive approach, right? Now you're also likely not just on web, but you're thinking more about mobile, your apps, and your connected TV. So once these regional configurations are in place, we can really start moving on to stage 4. And this is the consent framework. So this is now integrated. At this stage, you're looking at compliance and you're really focused on digital marketing efforts. So again, we've got our compliance, it's automated, we're thinking through that process. We're moving over to digital marketing now. And this is where you might integrate with things like Google Consent Mode, Microsoft Consent Mode, the IAB, TCF, or GPP. So these scenarios, right, allow you to sort of pass that informed consent downstream to those sort of partners and really take advantage of the digital marketing there. Strengthens your compliance and then allows for more personalized multi-marketing channels. As you're doing this, you're starting to move towards consented data collection, right? And this is creating that cycle of trust. Customers are starting to feel valued. They're more likely to share data, which leads to better experiences. So three quick takeaways. Valid consent here, right? You're sharing your downstream integrations with frameworks like the Google Consent, Microsoft, the IAB, GPP, and TCF. You're strengthening compliance, right? Now you're managing consent and personalized marketing channels. And then again, that cycle of trust is beginning. Customers feel valued and they share more data. All right, now we're getting to the real good stuff, right? I think right now we've been talking a lot about the CMP that I showed earlier. Now we're starting to move over to UCPM. So with stage 5, we're talking about preference. So now we're talking about centralized preference centers. As a business, you're going to start offering customers more of a centralized way to manage their data and communication preferences. So this is going to empower your customers to do more than just a basic opt-out. Again, mentioned earlier, your compliance is automated. Now you're shifting to business value. What can we do that's innovative? What strategic decisions can we make? This is very proactive, preference-driven strategy that keeps businesses ahead of regulation and really enhances your customer engagement. These preference centers help you build a unified consent profile as well for your customers. So it's allowing you to disseminate consented data to the necessary functions, right? So now this is out of just kind of the privacy and CISOs, and it is very much marketing. You can do real-time preference changes. This, in my opinion, is really the turning point, right? Now business value is coming from consent. 3 things: customer empowerment, centralized preference, good way to manage your data. Actionable insights. It's not just the basic opt-ins and opt-outs. And this is a proactive strategy, innovation, strategic design. Now with this in place, let's take it to stage 6, right? So now it's all starting to come together. Now you're not just collecting first-party data, but it's advanced first-party data. You can prioritize collecting elements like transactional details, behavioral insights. You're going to be integrating first-party data with consent from various channels that allow customers to manage their interactions with your brand through a single point of control. You could do cross-device syncing, right? So they set something on your connected TV product within your iOS or Android app, all the way to web. You can decide how that data flows, and the user feels validated. They feel heard and they feel supported. This builds trust, fosters loyalty, and it really future-proofs your business. There's a lot of public data out there. Having this secure, consented data is extremely valuable as we move towards, everyone using AI. So, I think this enables you to really have a complete picture of your customer. You're now developing rich personalization and you're increasingly targeting engagement. So it, to me, is the ideal state. It takes some time to get there, but this is when it's really humming along. So advanced data elements, right? These are your 3 things I'd leave on this stage. Advanced data elements, device-specific data, behavioral insights, transactional details. It's unified data management. You've got a single point of control for customer interactions. And then enhanced trust, loyalty. I can't say it enough throughout this, but this is the loyalty that you're bringing your customers in and they're part of your brand. So jumping back to this, CMP, unknown visitors, right? These are your kind of anonymous, whether they're opting in, opting out. You don't know them yet. You want to take them from that type of customer and move them over to a known customer. And that's where you get to those consent preferences, the downstream, the do not sells. They're opting in, they're setting their purposes. Do I want you to send me SMS, but not marketing? What days do I want that? The email preferences, do not call, right? You really take it to understanding your customers and building that sort of bond with them that keeps them loyal and keeps them coming back to your brand because you're trusted. They know their data is safe with you. They know you're using it for what they have agreed to for it to be used for. And then finally, do appreciate everyone joining today. If you want to go, I think it's maybe a 12 or 13 page ebook that goes into a little more depth on some of the topics that I covered. I've hit the highlights. I hope you guys all do great wherever you are in your privacy program, your consent program. We're here to help, and there's just a lot of resources out there. So I do appreciate all your time. I'm available for questions. Feel free to reach out on LinkedIn, and I appreciate you all.